Rack 61 and 62 on the road to 1,000 break and runs, and we have some 8-ball. I have a couple buddies that'll appreciate this, but I'll tell you what, I get more rolls than a bakery in this rack right here. It's insane. Big old break, lots of power, lots of pop. Slop the ball in the side pocket, and the run continues. Speeding up for the sake of things here, trying to figure out the pattern of the best balls to take on after the break. I like to take solids here. My goal was to make the 5 with a high left spin around 11 o'clock, go 1 rail into the 1 and bump the 1 up past the 8, so therefore it would have an easier pocket. Unfortunately, I laid the 1 up on the 8 and made the rack even harder. See me walking over, putting my cue down, trying to see where I want to leave the cue ball after I pocket the 3 so I can make the 1 in the side pocket. Shooting the 3 ball here with a low spin around 6 o'clock. Nice smooth stroke, using these side pockets to my advantage because they are extremely tight. I was feeling pretty confident on that when I sent it in with speed. Shooting the 1 ball here, my plan was to break out the cluster between the solid, the 9, and the 10 sitting right there in the middle of the table. Unfortunately, I hit the 10, missed the cluster, did not get the breakout. As you can tell, frustration was setting in by my body language. Yet again, trying to play positional on that ball right there, the solid. I have the 4 in the upper left-hand corner pocket here. You see me put my cue stick on the table just a moment ago. Shooting the 4 with a high right spin around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, nice and easy, just floating the cue ball down. And I got pretty good here on this solid finally. I don't have to break it out now. In the bottom right-hand corner pocket here, you see one of my solids sitting, so I call the combination. And my goal was to draw back and bump the stripe just like that so I could see the 6 ball. I did make the combination, unfortunately could not see the 6 ball. Thankfully, out of pure luck, my solid came back up table, and I can see it, and I have a really, really thin cut on that solid in the top right-hand corner pocket. Calling the top right corner pocket, super thin cut. I'm trying to use the 15 to hold my cue ball down there. Bunch going on right there. I barely made the ball in the corner pocket. It was like a 90-degree cut, basically. It was way worse than the camera made it out to be. And thankfully, I can see the 6 with some luck here. Dead luck, not going to lie. Nice low spin right there around 7 o'clock. Using the long roll to pop out so I can shoot the 8 in the upper right-hand corner pocket. This rack was insanely amounts of luck, but that did conclude this rack on the road to 1,000 break and runs. If you guys would, please hit that like button. I greatly appreciate it. Rack 62, we have more 8-ball. For the new viewers, this is a 9-foot table with 4 1/8-inch pockets. Me utilizing everything I have and hitting the rack basically as hard as I can. Lots of pop. I did make a ball in the right-hand side pocket. The run continues. Speeding things up here for the sake of time and switching cue balls as usual to protect my new measle ball in case it goes off the table breaking. I like to shoot the 1 ball here in the bottom left-hand corner pocket. And I believe I was going to try to play position on the 5 ball next, but unfortunately that does not happen. Shooting the 1 with a high right spin around 2 o'clock to go back out toward the middle of the table. I want to be dead straight in on the 5 so I could hold my cue ball there, but unfortunately I rolled a little bit far, so now I decide to change my pattern. I see the 2 balls being a problem ball. I believe that's the one on the far right-hand side of the table next to the rail. So therefore, I have this ball here in the bottom left-hand pocket. And you see me put my cue stick down. My goal was to shoot this ball here in the bottom left-hand corner pocket with a high left spin as I do, around 11 o'clock, going 1, 2 rails above this solid. So I go 1, 2 rails, and unfortunately, run straight into the solid. I did get a little bit fortunate to still be able to make this ball in the bottom right-hand corner pocket, but that is not how I played it. Just a moment ago, you see me put my cue stick on the table. My goal was to go 1 rail, 2 rails, and leave the cue ball around that area. I'm shooting this 2 ball with a unique spin. No low outside. I'm using straight low. I'm going basically straight across table. It barely went up, but I went 1 rail, 2 rails, and I was very close to where I had my cue stick just a moment ago. Now I have some options. Leaving yourself options is always great playing 8-ball. Therefore, sometimes you might find an easier pattern than one you first picked. Here I decide to shoot to 5, and I decide to move this stripe, you'll see. So this is a little bit of high spin around 12 o'clock. Just barely bumping that stripe out of my way so I could see the 6 ball. Shaking my head in frustration now because I got dead straight in on the 6 ball, and I do not like where I'm at. This makes position very, very tough. I do have a slight cut on the 6 ball, so when I draw back, I'm going to hit this stripe. I was trying to clip the stripe when I came straight back. Unfortunately, I hit it pretty full, and I didn't have much draw on the ball. Now I left myself an extreme cut on the 7. The problem with this is it's going to be hard to control the cue ball. My plan was to use the stripe that's next to my solid and hold the cue ball right there. This is very scary, slow rolling this ball, especially on a 3-piece slate table because you're going over the crack. But I did just that. I cut the 7 in and it just fell last minute, and I used that stripe to hold my cue ball. Therefore, I got lucky a little bit of skill, but I do have an easy shot here to conclude this rack on the road to 1,000 breaking runs. There was a lot of luck in those 2 racks, but I had to post it. But if you guys would, please take a moment and check out my sponsors. I'd greatly appreciate it.